Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Star Cub Review. Today, as you maybe have already guessed from the title of my video, it's my final review for Final Fantasy XVI. Yesterday, July 10, 2023, I officially, and I say this wholeheartedly, and I still can't believe it, I'm still riding on my success here after all of it. I officially completed Final Fantasy XVI 100%. I got the last 2 trophies I needed to get the platinum. Yes! And I finished it on Final Fantasy mode. And the 2 trophies were basically, it was the trophy for Final Fantasy mode, which was finally fantasy, and then the actual platinum trophy. I'm extremely proud of myself when it comes to platinuming Final Fantasy XVI, and as you would have guessed from the title card as well, indeed, I think Final Fantasy XVI is a masterpiece. It comes down to its characters, music, setting, everything about Final Fantasy XVI. The story was immaculate. It was absolutely beautiful. The ending made me cry like a baby. It really bloody did. It made me cry big time. Like, I'm talking sobbing, I was in tears. The ending was just absolutely magical. And also, just a heads up, I will be doing a few little spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about anything with regards to characters that may give some certain things away, don't watch the rest of this video as of now. Now, when it comes to the characters, like the twist, I loved the twist with Clive's brother Joshua still being alive, and we see him a lot older now, in his 20s, and wow, can I just say, Joshua is probably one of my favorite characters, apart from Clive, and Dion, the icon, his icon is Bahamut. Let's just say that Joshua was absolutely amazing to the story. His twist, the twists and turns that Yoshi P and the team delivered, with an absolutely exceptional story and soundtrack to go with it, and setting, surroundings as well. The battle system was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely had a ball with it. I'm not really going to talk about all of that because I spoke about that, the battle mechanics and all of that, in my last review for Final Fantasy XVI semi-review, just touching base on some of that. But the story aspects of it, being, battle, big icon battles, politics, nation against nation, some of the other characters like Gav was extremely amazing to the story. You have so many other people that were so integral to it. Odin's, the icon Odin, who is Barnabas. Let's all just agree right now that he was amazing as a villain. Oh my god, he was an exceptional villain. He literally pisses on Game of Thrones villains big time. And his cohort, Slefna, was a really good match too. He was really good in it. Dion, who is icon Bahamut, his story was so good. Such an amazing character. They did the LGBTQ side of it. They handled that really well. Well, that is one aspect of the character. It's not his complete being as a character. He has internal struggles and stuff like that as well, but they don't literally have it in your face where it's just, they're outright just shoving it in your face that he's gay. It's just part of the story. You see him kissing another bloke, Terrence. What can I say? His story was beautiful. It was amazing to see them just really embracing all aspects, especially when it comes to some of the sex scenes as well. Like it really did pull some strings to get that content for everyone to see, basically. And that's the thing I liked about Final Fantasy 16. It was brutal. It was in your face. It was political. It was fuck you here, fuck you there, fuck. It was everywhere. And it fitted in so well with the story. Everything about it, Clive, Jill, or Joshua, all of them were absolutely amazing. Barnabas, Dion, even the gigantic battle with Titan, the Icon Titan, was some of the fucking most amazing fights I have ever seen choreographed for a video game. The Icon battles were absolutely amazing. Benedicta's fights, Garuda, was absolutely goddamn amazing. Everything about it was just amazing. The ending, I know some people will probably didn't like the ending, were confused by it, maybe thought, oh, well, that's a kick in the face. I say to everybody, each to their own. I mean, if you didn't like the ending, fair enough. But you had to admit, when it comes to Final Fantasy 16, they really pulled no stops. They kept going with all the punches. Good guys died, bad guys died, twists and turns here and there. I mean, even introducing the other main villain to the story, and why Final Fantasy 16 even exists in that story is Ultima. What an amazing villain as well. The actual overall arch antagonist, apart from Barnabas and Slifner as well. But Ultima's story was literally amazing. I did not see that coming. And then when the ending came, and, spoiler here, with, pretty much Joshua dying, and then sadly at the end it was Clive bit the dust. It fitted in with the story. Now, in the context of it, yeah, it did suck to see that happen in a Final Fantasy game, but if we remember anything, Final Fantasy VII broke our hearts when it came to Aerith. Aerith. And Final Fantasy 16 really broke my heart when it came to just side characters that had either died or main characters that had died. And when it came to the ending, it was gut-wrenching, but at the same time, it was a really happy ending, but sad. But the context of the story, I can see why the ending is the way that it is. It's it's all about sacrifice, saving the ones you love, but also holding everything, dear. It's all that. It has political intrigue, deception, it's all, political antics between nations and all of that, and, deception. You scratch my back, I scratch your back, but really I'm going to betray you behind your back, and you're not going to know it until you're dead. Let's just assume that we will get DLC for Final Fantasy 16. My hopes are it's perfect. Final Fantasy 16 is perfect as it is. I honestly, and I know people are going to crucify me for this, maybe not. I don't think Final Fantasy 16 needs DLC. Now, the story, the overworld, the whole thing is just littered with mythology. everywhere you look is mythology. There's some story there, or some story there, or some story there. Especially when it comes to another spoiler alert, Leviathan the Fallen. For the ones that have played to the end, they'll know who I'm talking about. One of the icons, he has mentioned. There is hints that Leviathan hasn't awakened as of yet, and I really do like that aspect that they could explore that. But at the same time, I'm a little bit skeptical and just a little bit weary when it comes to DLC. Like, are they going to really dedicate the time into and love as much as the main game with the DLC? And is it going to be just an add-on story like Final Fantasy 15's, which, let's face it, that story absolutely sucked, and then the DLC added stuff to it that just went this way, went that way, went every way, and it ruined the story, and it focused a lot on its villain as well, which I didn't like. So if they do DLC, I will be open to it, but at the same time, I would love for the DLC to be just as long as, at least get 10, 15, 20 hour gameplay from it. Exploring Leviathan the Fallen, explore that icon, explore some different areas in the world of Valisthea, and perhaps a new person rises up, or we don't know, because by the end of it, magic is completely gone from the world. But in a post-credit scene towards the end, you actually get hope that there is still magic out there. That's what I get from the ending, anyway, from that little post-credit, that there is still hope and that magic still exists out there somewhere. Now, overall, Final Fantasy 16, absolutely amazing. I platinumed it. I really, really didn't think I was going to get that far, and I really persevered with Final Fantasy 16. It was just one of those ones that, like I said, I cried like a baby. It was one of those entries that really, 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 really struck a chord, and the story was just amazing. It intrigued me. Every aspect of it was amazing. I mean, some people said it's not a true RPG and that it completely fucks over the franchise, and it shouldn't even have been called Final Fantasy 16, and it was boring. I got nothing out of it. Then why the fuck did you buy it and played it? If you don't like it, then you shouldn't have bought it. For instance, if you didn't like the look of it, you shouldn't have bought it. But I absolutely loved Final Fantasy 16. It is definitely one of those games where they put a lot of love into the combat, the setting, the game design, everything. It was just so lush. It was so pretty. It was amazing. It was gorgeous. It was gritty. It was dirty. It was fucking amazing. That's how much Final Fantasy 16 has really defined what an RP. It can still be an RPG and have different elements to make it an action on top of an RPG, but it still retains all those elements of Final Fantasy. Now, when the title card, as it says, it's a masterpiece, you've read the title card. Literally, everything about this game is what Final Fantasy is. And 16 just proves that you can do this shit for mature audiences, and everybody loves it. It worked. Everything about it just worked. Now, the previous Final Fantasy games, some of those I absolutely loved. Like, I've done reviews on them and talks on the ones that I really, really love. Now, every Final Fantasy is different. When Final Fantasy 15 came out, everyone kept saying, that's not Final Fantasy, that's not Final Fantasy, it's in a completely different setting, it doesn't look anything like Final Fantasy. Some people said that about, people spewed pissed all over Final Fantasy 12, and I absolutely loved Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 12 was very much like Final Fantasy 16, but doesn't have all the, has still had political intrigue and stuff like that, but it was more of a fantasy type adventure. I really can't define what Final Fantasy 12. It's like Final Fantasy 16, where you have deserts and oases and all of that sort of stuff, and temples and ancient beings and stuff like that. But it's not. It doesn't have an M rating. So whereas Final Fantasy 16, it's very much like you're watching a full, complete season of Game of Thrones with all the, the swear words, the blood, all of that. It's all in your face. And it's aimed at adults. It's not for kiddies, a 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old. It's not aimed at them. It's aimed at adults that, know all this shit, the political intrigue of it all, the sex, the backstabbing, the betrayals, everything. And that's exactly what a Final Fantasy game is. Every Final Fantasy has its own unique setting and characters and soundtrack and everything like that. There are some that may disagree with me and say, well, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all Final Fantasy. That's what Final Fantasy is. Fun, little goofy. Final Fantasy 16 had its goofy moments, but it was very, very mature at how it really, really presented itself. It did it in such a way where it completely just opened your eyes to the amount of detail and love that they put into this game. I really, truly loved everything about Final Fantasy 16. Like I said, I'm absolutely proud of myself that I persevered through it all. And let me tell you, Final Fantasy mode is no joke. It's not a pushover. It is extremely hard. It is challenging. Alone on some of the fights, with some late bosses, it took me a few good tries. Let's just put it that way. The Ultima, one of the forms of Ultima, I died on at least once because I got caught out and couldn't come back from it. So I got my ass obliterated handed to me there. There were some other instances where I was in some boss fights, and they're extremely challenging because their patterns change, and their attacks are more lethal, and you take more damage. But with their icon abilities and mashing everything together for combos, like taking this icon's attack and mixing it with this icon's attack, and using different items and items to do your combos and stuff like that, you can get absolutely amazing stagger damage and HP damage. It's all in the way how you approach this game. It makes you challenge yourself and how would you go about this situation. And with certain boss fights, you had to change up either your icon's abilities or items to suit the situation. And that's what I had to do a few times. Got my ass handed to me. But after that, I got the rhythm down pat and I persevered through it and got the platinum for it. So, at the end of the day, I'm not bragging. I'm happy that, this is a game that I have thoroughly enjoyed. And it was an absolute joy that Square Enix have brought a big, huge RPG fan like myself and everybody else that are fans of Final Fantasy. They really put a lot of love and dedication into this game. And, for a very long time after Final Fantasy VII Remake, I didn't think I was gonna get back, enjoy any of the other games on offer that really gave me that sort of thrill and excitement as Final Fantasy VII Remake did. Now, I platinumed that. I did 2 walkthroughs of that and got the platinum for the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I absolutely adore Final Fantasy VII. I really do. I always will. But I hate to, Final Fantasy 16 for me has knocked Final Fantasy VII off the number 1 spot for me, and Final Fantasy 16 has become my number 1 Final Fantasy game when it comes to what they pulled off with this in the franchise. It is absolutely fucking amazing, and I really thank Square Enix and Yoshi P and his team for really, really, really putting so much love into that game, because it really shone through just how incredible him and his team could make me cry and have so much joy and excitement, and just continue every day to get up and want to go play more, sit on it 6, 7, 8 hours, and then, it's already midnight. And it's like, oh my God, I've played, nearly 6, 7, 8 hours, and, I gotta go to bed and stuff like that. So for anyone that's a fan or anyone that's just tuned in or returning, I know this is a long video, and I know some of the people will not watch the entire thing or just watch sections. But for me, this was a topic that I really had to get out. My final review for Final Fantasy 16, now that it's been platinumed, I really, 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 really would love for them to take the care into the DLC, because truly Final Fantasy 16 is a masterpiece. It really is. The story is absolutely amazing. I just hope, and I'm keeping my mind open, is that the DLC gives me a lot more of the mythology and story that we all love, and can continue that stride and really keep the flow going with Final Fantasy 16, because I have no idea how they're going to top Final Fantasy 16 when it comes to Final Fantasy 17. I really don't. I have no idea how they're going to pull that one off. But other than that, my rating for Final Fantasy 16 is 10 out of 10. Absolutely amazing game. It is a masterpiece, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Please go and check out some of my other videos. To everyone new, thanks again for tuning. Thanks for tuning in and picking my video. For all those returning, I love you guys. All right, take it easy. This is this review down. I will have a movie review up in the next hour or two. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the notification bell to keep up to date with all my content. And I will see you all with the next video very, very soon. All right, peace.